Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right. Welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you can give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to our channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. Every next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose? It's totally free of charge. But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So once again, if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. And then finally, just underneath that, there's another link in that description box. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 10,800 members in the group. We're closing on 11,000. And the group is doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, we're getting closer, guys. And hey, fly, Eagles, fly. Hee. Oh, man. Ain't nothing better than watching it. Eagles go down in flames, man. They fucking blow. God, I hate them. Man, they look like straight trash, absolute trash. And I loved every second of it, baby. Man, fly, Eagles, fly. Oh, man. Well, anyway. And a quick shout out. I want to give a quick shout out. I did in my Facebook group, too. To my high school, Washington Township Minutemen, South Jersey. Group State 5 champions of New Jersey. 14-0, baby. We won today 31-12 at MetLife Stadium, no less. So congratulations and quick shout out to my high school, Washington Township, the Minutemen, for winning the State 5 Group 5 title. First time ever they did it, so congratulations. And then also congratulations to, it seemed like it took a little while, but congratulations to Mr. Dart. He's out of the concussion protocol. Hopefully he's going to start learning a little bit, right? Now, one thing he did say, which I was, one thing is that when he got dinged against the Bears, the fumble. He said when you're trying to, the ball comes loose and you're more worried about the ball than you are like bracing yourself to take a hit. That's that. But all in all, he's got to be, he's got to be smarter with the ball, smarter with his head, smarter with his body. Let's hope he learns. He's gone into the tent too many times so far this year. Too many times. I mean, that's one thing. You never, hardly ever, if ever, saw Eli go into the tent. Now, of course, it's Eli was, not known for his running, if he ever ran. Yeah, no doubt. Tough SOB, Eli. No doubt about that. I mean, the guy, it wasn't for the Ron McAdoo, right? Eli would have had a lot more consecutive game streak going, but it is what it is. But you got to be more. Dart's got to be smarter with his body. I mean, he's just getting into the NFL now. True, he has gone through high school, through college. He managed all that and everything. But you figure if he's got 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, that's 8 years. He's kind of hoping, we're kind of hoping, right? His NFL career is maybe twice that length. And, now he's dancing with the big boys. If he wants to have his NFL career be twice as long as his college and high school combined, he better start taking care of himself. it's, I understand you're in the moment and blah, 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 all that stuff and everything. But the man needs to start watching like some movies like Concussion with Will Smith in there, because it's a true story about, it's the CTE and all of that. Obviously, in the beginning of it is, I'm not exactly sure how accurate, or whatever, that's exactly the way that Mike Webster took his life. Because in the movies, they always try to spice things up a little bit to make it, more interesting and everything. But, a lot of guys kill themselves. And, it's kind of, you disregard your body now and this, that, and the other thing. But your NFL careers in your lifespan is relatively, whatever. 20%. I mean, if he plays for 15 years, right? I mean, I don't know, 15, 36, 75, he'd be 75 years old, though, so 15 out of 75 years would be 20, but, his lifespan is a lot longer than his NFL career is. The idea is to play football, come out relatively unscathed as best as you can, and hopefully lead somewhat of a normal life afterwards. Now, we see a lot of people do that. But if you disregard your body, CTE ain't nothing to mess around with. I mean, it's all fine and fancy right now, but when you afterwards you start having problems with this up here, ain't no escaping that. That's why some people take the one road out to escape it. And it's not pretty. So he's got to be careful. Really, really got to be careful. I mean, I don't care. I can't stand the Eagles, but I don't want nobody on the Eagles. I don't even want anybody on the Eagles getting a cold. I want our best going up against your best. If we win, our best beat your best. That's just not the way it is. That's the way it's never going to be like that. But I don't want nobody getting hurt. These guys put their freaking lives on the line every play. They never know when the last play is going to, or the next play might be their last play. So the guys got to be more careful, right? So let's hope as time goes by, he starts learning some lessons. Especially, somebody brought this up on Big Blue Kickoff Live, because he was talking about it too, standing on the sideline. It's like, man, I want to be in there, and then it's like, well, if you could be in there, if you were a little better, protecting your body and your head and all that, a little smarter with the football, and right, you might be in there. So let's hope he starts learning. You only got 5 games left. I mean, holy cow. Right? And then bye-bye another season. So, but thankfully he's cleared. I mean, to me, I love Jameis Winston too. But Jameis is not the future of the franchise, obviously. I hope we do something to bring Jameis back. I mean, we got him for 2 years. I mean, the dude's, to me anyway, the dude's an absolute steal. What he can do on the field as far as throwing the football, but as far as a human being, a locker room presence, what he does for the all of that, the morale of the team and everything like that, you can't beat that dude. I mean, to me, wow. I mean, the only other one I could really maybe think of, you have to go back. I mean, in recent memory anyway, you have to go back to if you want to go back to Y.A. Tittle and Charlie Connolly, like 1961, because we brought Y.A. Tittle in. He was the starter for most of the time, but Connolly was in his last season. He was the backup. But I mean, in recent memory anyway. I mean, as far as a backup quarterback, and I don't mean the Daniel Jones, Eli Manning kind of thing. I mean, bringing somebody in as a backup quarterback. I mean, you'd have to go back. I mean, and actually, I think Winston's better than Hostetler to a certain degree. But Hostetler, won us the Super Bowl. And we were not going to me anyway, we were not going to win Super Bowl 25 with Phil Simms in there. But going up against, in the playoffs, going up against the 49ers and then trying to go up against the Bills, we needed mobility. And Phil Simms did not have that. Didn't have that. So I think we would have had a hard time winning both those games. Just Jeff Hostetler with his mobility, right, helped us win those games and win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, you'd have to go back to me, for me anyway, going back to, to the 80s, or whatever. Hostetler, we had Hostetler in the late 80s, but, when he came, that helped us win the Super Bowl, obviously, it was after the 1990 season. But I mean, you got to go back to then, as far as I'm concerned anyway, as far as somebody, a backup you get excited about, Let's go. Hook 'em horns. Back to Titletown, baby. Hook 'em horns. So I hope they maybe extend Winston another whatever, year or so or something. Hopefully, that's if he wants to stay here. Who knows? But absolutely, I absolutely love having him. I said, if we have Dart and then we have Winston and then you draft somebody, right, and try to develop them, we'll see how that works out. I mean, we did a pretty good job with Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. The problem was we had 4 quarterbacks. If we didn't have 4 quarterbacks, we still would have had Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan on our roster. So we'll have to wait and see. Don't back under center. Don't hope he stays healthy because of major injury. Yep. Oh, yeah. Yep. I mean, he's got to be careful with himself. Get down, slide, get out of bounds. Can't take, the hits to the head. And he's got to start getting better. This hopefully he learns. Hopefully he learns. Right. So finally, looks like Kafka before today's practice. So Dart will start for the Giants on Monday night. Kafka confirmed before Friday's practice. The rookie, who has not played since Week 10, cleared concussion protocol on Thursday. Number 25 overall pick has not played since suffering concussion in Week 10 at Chicago. Jameis Winston started the past 2 games in his place, while Russell Wilson served as backup. Dart, the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month for October, became the first quarterback in NFL history with a touchdown run in 5 consecutive games, breaking a tie with Cam Newton. Dart has 5 games with at least 1 passing touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown in 2025, tied with reigning MVP Josh Allen for the most in the NFL. The only rookie with more such games in league history is Newton, who has 8 in 2011 when he won AP NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Last week, Winston became the second player to record 1 receiving touchdown, 2 passing touchdown passes, and at least 300 yards in a game. And, of course, then the Giants racked up 517 yards against the Detroit, and now scored. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. 20 points in 20 points or more in 7 straight games, and 8 of the last 9. Tied for the second longest streak. Guys, I guess you got to go back to 2008 in a single season by the team since 2000. The 2011 Giants scored 20-plus points in 8 consecutive games. But for the last 2 weeks, the Giants have been without, obviously, Jaxson Dart. The rookie signal caller suffered a concussion against the Bears and has been working his way through the protocol ever since. So a lot of times it's like you get that, and it's like, if it's not too bad, you kind of hope he clears the protocol by the end of the first week, and maybe by the second game he's able to play. But it took darn near almost 3-4 weeks. So let's hope this starts ringing some bells in the dude's head. Right? It took almost 3 weeks from the past concussion protocol. Dart took a step in the right direction last week as he was able to return to the practice field. He was listed as limited, non-contact participant for all 3 practices and was eventually ruled out on last Friday. After being upgraded to a full participant in the team's first practice of Week 13 on Wednesday, the Giants received good news on Thanksgiving Day. Cool. The team announced that Dart cleared the protocol, putting him in the line to start Monday in Foxborough. The Giants have averaged 24.2 points per game in the 6 full games Dart has started. Now, you got to figure, right? The 24.2 points per game. Last year, we were averaging 16 points per game. There's a rookie quarterback. We're averaging 8 points more per game with Dart in there than we did last season. Right? And last season, we had Malik Neighbors in there the whole year. Except for like 2 games, I think it might have been. But this year, Dart, I think, played like a quarter, not even half a game with Malik Neighbors. So he's been scoring. Right, the Giants are averaging 24.2 points per game with Dart under center. Our number 1 running back is out for the season. Our number 1 wide receiver is gone. And we're averaging 24.2 points per game. With a rookie quarterback. Not bad. Imagine if he had a couple weapons. I mean, Robinson's doing very good. Theo has done pretty good the past couple games. Some of his drops have gone away a little bit. But, Isaiah Hodgins has certainly not hurt. But Slayton, Hyatt, kind of some MIA missing in action there. I mean, just imagine if we had, maybe Scatterboo and Tracy next season. Hopefully we have the offensive line back once again. Theo Johnson maybe takes another step next season. We'll have to wait and see if we re-sign Bellinger or not. But if we get Malik Neighbors back, hopefully we might bring back, Wan'Dale Robinson, hopefully. And maybe in the draft we sign another stud wide receiver. Really give him some weapons to throw the ball to. Whew. We could score even maybe more than 24 points per game. That would be great, wouldn't it? Of course, it doesn't help if your defense is giving up over 30 points a game, but right. Let's say the Giants have averaged 24.2 points per game in the 6 full games that Dart has started, which spread across the whole season would rank just outside the top 10. Not bad for a rookie quarterback, huh? The 22-year-old has played a crucial role in the Giants, scoring 20-plus points in 7 straight games, tied for the second longest streak in a season by the Giants team since 2000. In his 7 starts, Dart has accounted for 17 total touchdowns, 10 passing, 7 rushing, with just 5 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumbles lost. The rookie has earned a 93.5 passer rating while throwing for 1,417 yards and adding another 317 yards on the ground, with an average of 5.6 yards per carry. So, in his 7 starts, he's totaled over 1,700 yards. That would be what? You figure in his 7 starts, he didn't completely play 7 full games, but you figure in his 7 starts, so you figure that's 3,400. So in 14 games, he would have like between rushing and passing, he'd have almost 3,500 yards. So if he played a full season, at this pace that he's going, he'd have well over 4,000 yards between passing and rushing. And he'd have, oh my goodness, he has 17 touchdowns in 7 games. You figure if he played 14 games, he'd have 34 touchdowns. So you figure at this rate, he'd have in 17 games, he'd have over 35 touchdowns, 35 to 40 touchdowns he'd have between rushing and passing in a season. Not too bad, especially once again, no number 1 wide receiver and our number 1 running back is out for the season too. And so he's doing a lot of this on his own. So with Dart sidelined, Winston started the last 2 games against the Lions and Packers. The offense did not skip a beat with Winston under center, as a unit averaged 23.5 points against 2 tough defenses. The Lions had a great pass defense, and the Packers have a very good defense. and we scored 23 and a half points, average 23 and a half points between those two teams with Winston in there. And this is what Kafka calling the plays, right? Winston completed 37 of 65 pass attempts, 567 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, while only getting 3 sacks. And actually, last week, the only 1 sack he took was on the final play of the game. Other than that, for whatever, this first 60 some odd minutes of the game, he didn't get sacked 1 time. Winston became just, once again, I mentioned that. Matt Ryan in 2018 was the other player since 1960 to throw for 350 yards in a game, 2 or more touchdowns, and catch a touchdown pass in a game. Let's see. Winston averaged 13.6 air yards per completion, which was the highest mark in a game since week 1 of the 2024 season, while his 211 passing yards when pressured were the second most by any player this year. So, yeah, not bad. Not bad. Well, yeah, have you kept the O-line? Oh, yeah, well, we have. I think so, yeah. Yeah, well, whatever happened, boy. Man, if we don't keep Priscilla around here, I mean, I'd be bummed out. I mean, that's the one problem. If they want to bring in another coach, she's like, I got a guy, I'm gonna bring him in. Oh yeah, great. Could be good, but could be pretty bad. I mean, it's like us Giant fans. It's for however long we've always had problems with this offensive line. Year after year after year, and it seems like we might have it. The thing is, we have to, because it's the Luminor's last season on this contract, and Van Roten we keep bringing back, on a yearly contract. So we got those 2 guys. We still got Runyon. Obviously we got John Michael Schmidt. So one more next season will be his last season. We need to re-sign him, extend his contract or whatever. Of course, then we got Andrew Thomas. Now we'll have to wait and see what they want to do with Bo. Do they think he can slide in and be a starting tackle? We'll have to wait and see. But hopefully they keep Priscilla, because he's really done a very, very good job with this offensive line. I mean, we're not a top 10 unit or something like that, but we can win with this, as we've seen. We can score points with this unit. Right? And if the defense was able to hold people at bay, especially in the fourth quarter, our record would be a whole heck of a lot difference. What's going on this year, the bad of what's going on this year ain't got nothing to do with the offensive line. So let's hope hopefully, whatever happens, whatever coaches come in or whatever, they do wind up keeping our offensive line coach, because I'll tell you what, he's done a fantastic job. Speaking about doing a fantastic job, I've seen this article here. One of Shane's best off-season acquisitions. Absolutely. Now, the thing was that the shame of it was that, you don't have your crystal ball out, right? And you look into the future and, oh, yeah, we're going to get our quarterback in the first round. You don't know. You really just don't know. All it takes is one team to throw a monkey wrench into your plans, and you don't got Dart. Maybe you draft a quarterback maybe later on or something like that, but then you got to try to develop them or whatever. And besides, who knew that Dart might be this good? Glad he is, but the thing was, so we had Tommy. The only quarterback we had was Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. Then you bring Winston in. Okay. Then, of course, you got Wilson, and then you brought Wilson in. At least we only brought Wilson in for one season. That's good. After this season, he's bye-bye. He's been a pro's pro. Can't complain. You can see what he could do. He did nice, pretty gone good against the Cowboys. But he did have his struggles against the Commanders and against the Chiefs. But he'll be gone after this season. But so we got Dart and we got Winston. We got Winston for 2 seasons. I said, I'm kind of hoping that maybe we could maybe extend him another year or so. It seems like he's happy here. It seems like he wants to be here. But once again, that might be also up to him, obviously, after, the season's over with. I don't know if Shane's going to try to extend them. The thing is, once again, is that when you got somebody possibly, I mean, if you get your crystal ball out and you're like, oh, Mike Kafka is going to be the coach next year, you can plan around that. You have no idea. You have no idea. We got 5 games left. We're 0-2 with Kafka. Not maybe necessarily his fault, but, and we've done well in those 2 games. We certainly could have won both of them, but you don't know if Kafka is going to wind up being the coach next year. If he is, as I said, if you got your crystal ball and, Kafka is going to be, then you keep your coaches, maybe Basillo and some of these other coaches, you got Winston, what he brings to the table, and it may not be a bad idea. Maybe add another year onto it. I mean, having Winston as your backup quarterback, I'm fine with that. I mean, you can't say he's going to maybe win you a Super Bowl or something like that, but he's as a backup quarterback, and especially what he can do for the team and the morale and being in a locker room and all, he's fantastic, really, really fantastic. But the thing is that you want to try to, extend them, and then if Kafka doesn't wind up being the head coach, you bring somebody else in here, and they might be like, I don't want Winston, he's not my guy. I want somebody else, That's the problem. That's always the problem. It's like, you got, whether your coordinators, your players, especially, if you extend a player for another couple of years and you got a new head coach coming in here and you tell them, this, by the way, this is your quarterback. We just signed this, extended this tackle. We extended this wide receiver. We drafted, and the coach coming in might be like, yeah, I wouldn't have extended that tackle. I wouldn't have signed that wide receiver out, So that's one of the problems with change. I mean, change, it's under certain circumstances, when things aren't going good, you need to do some change. But, it's not like a basketball team. You got 5 players. Of course, you got the guys on the bench. I get it, but 5 players. It's like maybe you can change 1 or 2 guys out, and you can have the whole roster. Just you got 5 guys. You trade 3 of them, or change 3 of them up, whatever. You change. That means you basically your start unit. You change 60% of it. Well, it's a little different in the pros. You got your special teams. You got your offense. You got your defense. So it's a little difficult and as I said, it's one of the problems. You like one coach go, if you bring somebody in, like maybe a defensive minded coach or somebody who has a different philosophy or whatever, and you got 50 guys on your team and he only wants half of them. Now he's going to change out half the roster. That's a lot of guys he's got to change out. And maybe he can't do it all in one season. You might have to do it in a couple seasons. So now you're waiting for the guy to change the roster out just to get his guys in here. And you could be going through another 1 or 2 crappy seasons. Nobody, none of us Giant fans want to hear that, right? But there's one article. It's from G-Man HQ, Matt Sidney. Giants' overlooked offseason decision is aging better than fans ever imagined. Absolutely. I mean, I can't, This is with Winston. It wasn't all that long ago that the Giants were completely and totally lost in their search for a franchise quarterback, which is true. But, I mean, once again, how's Daniel Jones doing? Is Daniel Jones as bad maybe as Dable thought? He's not doing too bad with the Colts, right? As far as I know, they got a nice offensive line. That's huge. Got a good running game. That's huge. But then, they have unbelievable weapons. They're not doing too bad. Good chance they're going to make the playoffs. How the Giants know? We making the playoffs? No. We were the first team eliminated from the playoffs. Thank you very much. So, I mean, it's like, we've been in search of a franchise quarterback. Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse here or nothing, but did we have a franchise quarterback and just Dable just didn't know what to do with him? I mean, right? See now, Dable's gone bye-bye, and Daniel Jones is on another team, and they're doing pretty good. So who was the problem? Was it Dable or was it Daniel Jones? So General Manager Joe Shane and then head coach Brian Dable had to pull out all the stops to end the exhausting quarterback carousel that's plagued the team since Eli Manning retired in 2020 or after the 2019 season. After passing on higher-priced free agents like Sam Darnold and Justin Fields, oh my God, Shane's first move was signing the 2015 number one overall pick, Jameis Winston, to a 2-year, $8 million deal. I mean, my goodness. I mean, Jesus Christmas. Jiminy frickin' crickets. $4 million for Jameis Winston. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback of them, but $4 million. Wow. That's a steal. The move was laughed at, dragged through the dirt, and was even seen as a last-ditch effort from a franchise that looked more lost than ever. But who's laughing now? Sure, Winston's addition hasn't exactly translated to wins, but hey, he had the Giants leading, I believe, in both games, right, in the fourth quarter. But his presence on the roster is bringing more value than fans might realize. He's delivered some vintage Jameis Winston moments, including a few electric trick plays. More importantly, he's been a massive asset in Jaxson Dart's development as a rookie quarterback. And that relationship alone has proven to be invaluable and worth far more than $8 million they signed him for. Oh, my goodness. $4 million a season. The 31-year-old has been every bit the locker room leader Big Blue was hoping for when they signed him. He's the perfect backup. He's good enough to play winning football. Yep. As one of the biggest locker room personalities in the league and understands his role. But I mean, there's personalities, which are bad, and there's personalities which are good. Jameis Winston has the personality which is good. I mean, there's some guys that are just, they're a presence in the locker room, but they're just a cancer. That's not Jameis Winston. That's not going to be him. He's really valuable. He's basically turned into Dart's right-hand guy and pseudo quarterback coach. They're in the film room together constantly. He quizzes him, coaches him up between drives, and passes down lessons learned over his 11 seasons in the league. Dart's been on record calling him a blessing. The best part is that it's some awkward forced mentee dynamic either. Winston's all in on helping the 22-year-old reach his full potential. The most glaring moment was when rookie running back Cam Scatterboo went down, and Winston was right there to wrap his arm around him and help him refocus after watching his buddy's season end right in front of him. That's not nothing. And to think this relationship almost didn't come to fruition due to the roster malpractice. Just 4 days after inking the 2013 Heisman Trophy winner, Shane added the quarterback room with the 14-year veteran Russell Wilson, whom Dable inexplicably instantly named the starter. After starting his season 0-3, Wilson was rightfully stripped of his starting duties in favor of Jaxson Dart. It's funny because Russ was also tabbed as a strong mentor at the time of his signing, but it's obvious that Dart gravitates more toward Winston. Winston has started the past 2 games as a rookie signal caller, works through the concussion protocol, and his play is all but confirmed. It should have just been Winston the whole time instead of Russell Wilson. Wilson's signing ultimately led to the departure of fan favorite Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan. In hindsight, it robbed the Giants fans of what could have been the most exciting quarterback room the league has ever seen. Oh, my goodness. With Dart, Jameis Winston, and Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, we would have had a wonderful, wonderful quarterback room. All three guys can win your football games. That's rare, really rare. Your third string quarterback can go out there and win your football games. That's pretty damn impressive. But because we signed Wilson, we went with four quarterbacks, so we had to let one of them go, unfortunately. And the problem is that after the season's over with, Wilson will be gone, and now we're going to be looking for another quarterback. Best part is Jameson is under contract for another year, which means the Winston Dart duo is just getting started. If year one has proven anything, it's that this pairing is something special, and year two should only be even better. Absolutely. I mean, we're really lucky. And he's only 31. Now, if he wants to play another 5 years or so, I mean, my goodness, I would not. If I was Shane, would not hesitate at all to sign Jameis Winston to extend him for another year or so or whatever. Especially if he winds up being a backup. He'll be fresh as a daisy. He won't be dinged up, beat up, or nothing like that. He'll be able to come in off the bench. The man can make the throws. The problem is he can make the throws to your team, and he can make some throws to the other team as well. But that's been his mode of playing ever since he's been in the league. He'll throw you some, and he'll throw the other team some too. Right? Like the 1 year where I think it was at 33 touchdown passes he had over 5,000 yards passing. 33 touchdowns, but he had 30 interceptions. That's just him. But as I said, but he's so much more, in the locker room, right? But also helping Jaxson Dart out. So, you can kind of go both ways with what Shane did, like maybe this offseason is like, did we really need Russell Wilson? That might have been a bad move, but it was only for 1 year. But you got to give him a thumbs up on signing Jameis Winston, especially for 2 years. And I said, the only problem now is after this season is over with, now we're going to be back looking for another quarterback. If you could have had your crystal ball out, nobody does. Hindsight's always 20/20. Right? We had Tommy Chicken Cutler Parmesan, and we picked up Jameis Winston. If Shane could have had his crystal ball out and he looked into the future, right? Ooh, we're going to get Jaxson Dart in the first round. Okay, I'm not going to go after Russell Wilson. You didn't know that. You don't know what's going to happen, especially with quarterbacks. Pretty, just look at the Jets, right? look what the Vikings with McCarthy. I mean, does it look like he's their savior? Nope. So it's finding that quarterback ain't easy. So did we luck out with Dart? Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially being able to jump up back into the first round and drafting him. Absolutely. And just leads me to my next point: how lucky, quite possibly, we are to get Jaxson Dart. And so it is. Yeah. The Giants actually steal Jaxson Dart because in his article, it goes over, I'll share my screen, a couple of the guys did the redraft, I guess, of the top 5 picks or whatever like that. And all of a sudden, Jaxson Dart's in the top 5 of the draft. Right? So the Giants, obviously drafted him, the number 25 or had to jump back into the first round, number 25. But according to one of these guys here, Jaxson Dart, I think one of these guys, I know it's Mel Kiper, and I can't remember who the other guy is in this article, but I'll go over it. But one of them still has Cam Ward drafted in front of Jaxson Dart. I'm not so sure about that, but I'll have to wait and see. But let me share here. Okay. Share my screen here. And once again, I do apologize. I got 75 tabs open up here. Okay, here we go. All right. ESPN quietly delivered strongest proof yet that the Giants stole Jaxson Dart. The Giants certainly have a keeper in their rookie quarterback, Jaxson Dart, and everyone knows it. Man, that feels good, doesn't it? Even in a bad season like this, just knowing, man, you know what? We probably got a quarterback of the future, and this is only his first season. Wow. We got 10 to 15 more years, let's hope, of this guy. Yes. The number one hardest position in all of sports. We found our guy. He's only 22 years old. If he plays for 15 seasons, he'll be, 36? So we got hopefully 10 to 15 more years of this guy. Yes. And the real exciting thing, too, now is the time to build around him when he's on his rookie deal. So you got after this season, you got 4 more years where he'll still be relatively cheap. Because, once that rookie deal's up and that 5th-year option that gets picked up, because thankfully we got him in the first round, so you got 5 years of him. He's going to want 60, 70 million probably. I mean, some of the top guys now obviously are making 50 plus, but we're talking another 4 or 5 years from now. Dart's going to want 60 to 70. It's going to be a large chunk. Could you imagine, right? Could you just imagine? It's just what we got. I mean, look, just think of this. We got Dart in 4 or 5 years. Now, of course, this is 4 or 5 years, but say he's going to want like 60. What's Malik Neighbors going to want? I mean, ABCD Lamb I think he's picking up. I think he's like 34, 33 or 34. Jamar Chase is around 40. What's Malik Neighbors going to want if he can stay healthy? What's he going to want? So you can easily see where 4 or 5 years down the road, Malik Neighbors and Jaxson Dart, between those two guys, are going to be almost $100 million in the salary cap. So, but although he may not have played the last 2 weeks due to concussion protocol, New York Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart's impressive rookie campaign is nothing to shy away from. And it's not just people within Big Blue's building who's noticed. It's everyone. The G-Men got the steal of last year's draft, trading up to pick number 25 to grab the former Ole Miss standout. He's impressed on and off the field as one of the team's leaders, and he's done it shorthanded. You have to think owner John Mara and general manager Joe Shane are pleased with what they've seen from Dart and happy he'll be around for years to come. If he stays out of concussion protocol and he doesn't get hurt and all, yes. While Dart has impressed everyone around the Giants' facilities this year, he's also stood out across the league. He's getting the national recognition he deserves from the media and from those outside the building, which should be an even stronger selling point to the franchise's next head coach. Absolutely. If they know they got their franchise in these next 5 games, it'll be very important, right? But not only for Dart, but for Kafka as well too, right? But for the next, if it's not the next coach is not Kafka, and they see what Dart can do, and he is once again he doesn't have the starting running back. Not that Tyrone Tracy is that much of a, but Scatterboo was the starter. He's no mas, and we don't have a number 1 wide receiver, and Dart's averaging Dart played with Malik Neighbors for about not even half a game. Right? And we're still averaging 24 points a game with Dart as the quarterback. Dart's rise is fast in ESPN's 2025 NFL redraft. ESPN's Mel Kiper and Phil Yates was the other guy, released their 2025 NFL redrafts, where they each had Dart going in their top 5. It's a big move up from number 25. Kiper had the Tennessee Titans taking Dart number 1 overall. I would definitely be taking Dart over Cam Ward, yeah. And Yates had the 22-year-old still going to the Giants 3rd overall instead of Abdul Carter. But we wound up with both guys. Action Jackson looks every bit like the rookie of the year. This season, he's thrown for 1,417 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions while rushing for 317 yards and 7 rushing touchdowns on the ground in just 7 starts. He was also named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Month for October and is the first Giant to earn the honor since 2014 when Odell Beckham Jr. won it. After missing the last 2 games, it appears that Dart will be healthy for Big Blues Week 13 matchup against the Patriots on Monday night. If Dart gets the start, it will be the first time since Mike Kafka took over as the team's interim head coach that he'll have Dart as his quarterback. Although the G-men have already been eliminated from playoff contention and Jameis Winston has been playing well, if Dart starts, Kafka will be looking for the first-year signal caller to return to form he was before he got hurt in Week 10. Regardless, it's safe to say the future is bright beyond this season with Dart under center for the Giants and a healthy supporting cast around him. So let me see. Okay, let me see. Does this carry over? Nope, it won't. Okay, all right. So let me stop sharing my screen there. And let me share. Where are we at here? Share my screen. Let me show you. This will show you what the redraft was. If I can find it there. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Okay. Who went number 1 in the 2025 NFL redraft for Mel Kiper and Field Yates amid rookie seasons? All right. So, 2025 NFL season is more than halfway over, which has given fans plenty of time to evaluate the rookies. Mel Kiper and Field Yates released their 2025 NFL redraft on Wednesday. Here's a look at the analysts' top 5 picks. Mel Kiper Jr., the redraft, has the Titans taking Jaxson Dart number 1 overall. He was 25. Not no much. Now he's the best quarterback in this year's draft. And was not supposed to be a phenomenal quarterback draft class. And, it doesn't seem like it was, but, it looks like Jaxson Dart was the number 1 overall pick. He was the number 1 overall, according to the Mel Kiper's redraft. He slid all the way to number 25. And he had the Jaguars taking Travis Hunter, and then the Giants wound up taking Cam Ward. Might have been a mistake. And then Patriots took Will Campbell, the offensive tackle, who they did take. And then the Cleveland Browns would have took Abdul Carter with the number 3 overall pick. So the Giants, according to Mel Kiper, wound up with 2 of the top 5 picks in the draft, 2 of the top 5 players in the draft. The Giants wound up. Not a bad draft. Not a bad draft. Now let's hope with the new defensive coordinator, let's maybe Abdul Carter might, his sack stats might go up a little bit. Be interesting to see. All right, then you got Field Yates, his redraft. For some reason, he still has the Titans taking Cam Ward number 1. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen, some of the highlights I've seen. I'm not watching. I don't really watch too much of the Titans because they suck. But, I've seen Cam Ward make some very nice throws. Very impressive arm talent. But I don't know. He seems to like Cam Ward over Jaxson Dart. I disagree, but it is what it is. Then Field Yates has the Jaguars taking Travis Hunter, which is what happened, right? Those guys went 1-2. Then he had the Giants taking Jaxson Dart, number 3 overall. Then he has the Patriots taking Campbell, which they did. And then the Browns took Amon Membo, who went number 7 overall. And I think that's it, right? That's the Kiper and Yates' top 5 isn't too far from how things actually went, though Jaxson Dart was a big riser for both. That's not surprising considering the season that Dart has had. Travis Hunter remained at number 2 for both, even though his rookie campaign hasn't gone the way he would have liked it. Now, he's recorded 298 receiving yards and a touchdown on offense and 15 tackles and 3 pass defense on defense before undergoing season-ending knee surgery on his knee. It's a shame after 7 games. So you figure, what the hell? Well, I don't know what the hell happened there. Interesting. All right. Oh, stop sharing that. Let me read this. See if I can read this here. Oh, there we go. Finish reading this here. So I said, so you figure with Travis Hunter in 7 games, you figure he was on pace for maybe about 700 receiving yards. You know, nothing super spectacular. You know, and then you figure he was on pace for, 15 tackles on defense. Yeah, I mean, you look. I mean, you figure, he plays offense and defense. Okay, but I mean, his numbers aren't like unbelievable. He had 15 tackles on defense in 7 games. So he's averaging 2 tackles a game on defense. Now, but you look at it, he plays offense and defense. Okay, but I mean, he's not killing it on either side. Right? I mean, he said he was on pace on offense to have about 700 receiving yards and have about 30 to 35 tackles on defense. So he's not killing it. He was still being the number 2 overall pick. Let's see. One notable omission from both Kuiper and Yates' top 10 is the Las Vegas Raiders running back Ashton Jeanty, who went 6th overall in the actual draft. Jeanty has recorded 554 yards and 4 touchdowns, which are decent numbers considering he's playing in a lackluster Raiders offense. Yeah. But, I mean, now if you do, as I said, once again, you do the redraft, and it just goes to show you, how much, Jaxson Dart, his value shot up. Which was big time. And I said the one guy, Field Yates or whatever his name is, he still for some reason has the Titans taking Ward number 1, but it is what it is. But the Giants, regardless, I mean, you can look at it where the Giants quite possibly got 2 of the top 5 players in the draft. That's not bad. We got 1 on offense and 1 on defense. That's not too shabby. Now, because the Giants are hurting in the secondary, they went out and got themselves another player, Miles Purchase. Oh, yeah. But they added him to the practice squad. I mean, don't be getting all warm and fuzzy and thinking we just picked up a Hall of Fame cornerback. We made a big trade and we got Sauce Gardner or something. No, this just another one of the guys. I said because obviously we're so banged up in the secondary. If these guys can't go, you got to bring them up from the practice squad, even if they're not going to play. You at least got to have some depth there. I mean, the Giants, that is one thing that certainly, without question, we definitely need to address in the offseason is we need some quality depth in the secondary, and also, one of the things you can also look at it too, right, is that, you got to get rid of Banks. We got him for 1 more year, and then we can say maybe goodbye to him, but we got to re-sign Cordell Flott. Got to bring him back. There's a contract here for him, so got to make sure we bring that guy back. But all right, Giants add a cornerback after with Paulson and Debo and Deontay Banks are injured. Giants make a move with injuries mounting at cornerback. On Tuesday, they signed the Chargers cornerback Miles Purchase to their practice squad. Former Chargers cornerback. Purchase is only 22. He's 5'9" now, but he's 203 pounds, so he's well built. From Iowa State, who signed with the Chargers as an undrafted free agent following the 2025 NFL Draft. He was released from the Chargers practice squad 3 weeks ago. Giants have been dealing with injuries at cornerback. high-priced free agent signing Paulson Adebo has missed the last 5 games with a knee injury. Perhaps this move to add some depth is an indication that Adebo could finally be heading to injury reserved. Yeah, it was very disappointing. Very Adebo, very. I mean, I understand we got a knee, whatever, but I mean, regardless, even when he was healthy, I mean, very disappointing season. And then, of course, this injury here. I mean, it says what? He's missed the last 5 games, and he might miss the final 5 games. So you figure we're signing this guy for $15 million a season. He might have only played the first 7 games. It's very, very disappointing. We definitely, without question, we need help in the secondary. Deontay Banks missed last week's game with a hip injury. Reserve cornerback Art Green was placed on injury reserve earlier in the season before signing purchase. The Giants did not have a cornerback on their practice squad, which is a big-time mistake. Now, if you look at the practice squad, the Giants have Brian Hudson, the center, Miles Purchase now, the cornerback, Elijah Chapman, and Elijah Garcia, defensive lineman, Jordan Riley, defensive lineman, Jake Kubas, guard, Ben Sauls, the kicker, who made Jude McAtamney expendable, Swaze Bozeman, a linebacker, Trace Ford, and Toman Fox, outside linebackers, Turbo Miller, Raheem Lane, safety, Reed Holsky, an offensive lineman, Zach Davidson, a tight end, Maximilian Mang, an international exemption guy. He played with Syracuse. He's 6'7". He's a blocking tight end. Dalen Cambry, Ray McLeod, and Amir Smith-Marset, wide receivers. They're all on the practice squad. But Miles Purchase was with Iowa State. He signed with the Chargers as an undrafted free agent on April 26, 2025. He was waived on August 26 as part of the final roster cuts and re-signed to the practice squad the next day. On September 30th, Purchase was released by the Chargers. He was re-signed to the team's practice squad on October 15th. Purchase was released on November 4th. On November 25th this year, obviously, Purchase was signed to the Giants practice squad. So, I mean, it's very, very, very important, obviously, to have, that's what, obviously, with the practice squad, you don't want to have whatever, at least one wide receiver on there, at least a running back, a tight end, a couple offensive linemen, defensive, obviously, safety. Got a little something of everything, but I mean, we have Raheem Lane as a safety on the practice squad, but we had no cornerback. And with all the injuries, it's unbelievable the injuries we got at cornerback. It's just silly, I tell you, silly. So we had no cornerbacks on the practice squad, which is obviously not good. But once again, as I said, I mean, this is just somebody that just is on the practice squad. He could be here today, and he could be gone in a couple of days from now. Who knows? But I mean. And I'll show you here. It's great at Iowa State. We'll go over, let's see here. NCAA. We've got 2024. All right, that's special teams. Now, he plays special teams, though, so that's good. Okay. But, I mean, this is his final season with Iowa State. And he graded out at a 63.9. Nothing super phenomenal. I believe it was his run defense, 73.8. The problem is here was his tackling. He missed a bunch of tackles. He missed 14 tackles. He missed 28 according to PFF. Last season at Iowa State, he missed 28.6% of his tackling opportunities. So he had 14 missed. According to them, he had 35, 45. He had 49 chances to make a tackle or assist in a tackle, I guess. And out of those 49 opportunities, he missed 14 of them. No, that's bad. That's really bad. I mean, cutting this in half still is a little high. So you can see where he did not do a phenomenal job tackling. Let's see here. So in 2023, he played that was his most snaps he played. 2023, grade out of 79 overall. Not too bad. His run defense, 72.8. His tackle was a lot better in 2023. His pass rush, he doesn't rush the passer too much, but his coverage skills in 2023 was probably his best season, obviously, with Iowa State. His second season, 2022, right? You see his numbers here, 63.6. That's his defense. His run defense, 62.5. Pass rush, his coverage skills. Once again, this is from Iowa State. Okay, so, that doesn't mean that teams like Iowa State or whatever, Illinois or, Connecticut, so don't have good football players. Don't get me wrong, but it was Iowa State. Okay, it wasn't Alabama or Ohio State or something. So, but he does play special teams. So let me go here. Yeah, not a ton, but he did play special teams. Okay, here we go. What season is this here? Okay, his last season at Iowa State. So he played a grand total of 58 snaps on special teams. All right. Now he played, where we got here? He must have missed a couple games here because you see weeks 3, 4, and 5. So he must have missed like a game or so in there. But still, he wound up with 58 special teams. We have 1 kick return, snap, 8 on kick coverage, 9 on punt return, field goal block, 40. So a majority of his special team snaps were on field goal blocks. So then this season here, let's go to NFL. He did play in the preseason with the Chargers. Oh, here we go, preseason. All right, here we go. Right. Yeah, he played in 48 preseason snaps in the preseason on special teams. Let's see if he played any defense here. Oh yeah, okay. He played some defense. Once again, this is special. This is preseason. Not too shabby. But once again, it's first week Hall of Fame game against Detroit. He played in 17 snaps on defense. According to PFF, he graded out 91.7. But once again, it's Miles Purchase. Right? He was probably going against Detroit's 37th string team offense. But against that 37th string offense from Detroit, he graded out pretty well. He did pretty good against Nolans. And, look here. against LA, right? Against the Rams, graded out 71.3. And against the 49ers in the third preseason game, he graded out 69.8. So, overall 83.6 in the preseason. But once again, that was preseason, and that was going up against guys who aren't even in the NFL anymore, or on some of those players are not on NFL rosters. But he did do very, very well. Okay, so you see his overall here, his run defense is really good. Right, his run defense seems to really, really be good. It's just sometimes he has an issue missing some tackles. But once again, I said, anything there, that's preseason. We know preseason is a heck of a lot different than the regular season. Why? Because the Giants in preseason were 3-0, and they were at least a plus 60. Maybe I think it was even a little more than that, but at least a plus 60 in the amount of points they scored, the amount of points they gave up. And the Giants were looking like Super Bowl champion, baby, right? Well, how are we looking now? Not too good. The defensive coordinator's fired. The head coach is fired. We're 2-10. We're basically we're the first team eliminated for playoff contention. So preseason is a different animal than regular season. So, but I mean, as I said, that this guy here, is here today, and unfortunately, fortunately, he could be good tomorrow, gone tomorrow. As I said, the biggest thing was that, on the practice squad, especially with all the injuries we've had in the secondary, we needed to have a cornerback on the practice squad, just at least to call up. As I said, because, Banks has been injured, Paulson and Debo has been a huge disappointment this season. And there's a good chance he might wind up going on injury reserve. So the Giants, might have a hard time stopping the pass the final few weeks of the season. But one thing we can hang our hats on now. Right. Finally here, the final thing here is that, one of the things the Giants have had, obviously, for the longest time, I said last year we were averaging 16 points per game. The year before that, I think it was like 15. I'm going to go over it, like 15 and a half points per game. The Giants have scored 20 points or more in 8 of the last 9 games. Pretty doggone impressive, right? This is with a backup quarterback, and you can look at Jameis Winston in there, backup quarterback, or not a backup quarterback, but then you also got Jaxson Dart in there, a rookie quarterback. So that's not too bad. Like I said, our number 1 wide receiver is out. Cam Scatterbo, our number 1 running back, is out, and we're averaging 20. I think we're averaging 22 points per game for the whole season, which includes the 2 of the first 3 games when we scored in single digits. Right? Not too bad at all. Let me show you. Obviously. Let's see that here. For the longest time, right? We're always having a problem. It was almost like a running joke. When are the Giants going to score 20 points in a game? Well, right? Right? We scored 27, we scored 20, we scored 20, 24, 20, 32, 34. Then the Saint game, if we didn't have all these turnovers, these 5 turnovers here, Giant easily would have scored well over 20 points in that game. Right? And then we scored 21 against the Chargers. So, this streak right here is pretty impressive, especially for us Giants anyway. Maybe not for some of the other teams that are really got great coaching, great offenses, great quarterbacks, and all that. But for the Giants anyway, that's a pretty doggone good streak. And you figure we are averaging for the season. What we at here? 22 points. The problem is, of course, is that our defense is giving up 27.8 or almost 28 points per game. This defense, not good at all. And I said, if you look, right, so we're averaging 22 points a game with a rookie quarterback. What's up, buddy? Last season, 16 points per game, which is 31st out of 32 teams. Right? And then, last season, I think we for the whole season, I think we scored 20 points or more 6 times, I think it was. Of course, against the Colts, right? We scored 20 against the Cowboys, 22 against the Commanders, 29 and 29. So what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times all last season. 5 times we scored 20 points or more. 5 times the whole freaking season. Look, we scored 6 points. Scored 7, of course, 3. We scored 7. We scored 7. Scored 11. Geez. All right. Then, of course, then you go to the year before that, where I think it was 7 times we scored 20 points or more. What do we got here? Yeah, we had a nice little run at the end of the season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was that it? 6 times. That was it. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. I'm sorry, there was 7. So, we've actually almost, and the season's not even over with yet. We've almost scored 20 points or more as many times this season after 12 weeks. As we did in the past 2 seasons combined. The last 2, 2023 and 2024 combined, we did it 11 times. I mean, and you said you figure out of 6, 4 in the last 5 weeks. Look at this: 10 points, 76 points, 10, 14, 9, 16, 3, 12, 0. I mean, jeez. And another thing you look at too, right? Think about it, is that those 2 years, 2023 and 2024, was when who was calling plays? Dable. Kafka was calling plays. Let's go back to 2022. Right? I mean, we had no wide receiver and no great wide receivers. We had Saquon Barkley. Our offensive line was healthy. Andrew Thomas was healthy all season. And we had Daniel Jones, and we ran the ball a lot. And, we got to the playoffs. But, we scored 20 points quite a bit. Right? There's the playoff game, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 times we scored 20, including the one playoff game. But 13 times, 20 points or more. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Now, as I said, which was one of the biggest problems. But you figure when Kafka was calling plays in 2022 and this season here, we're really producing very, very well as far as points. And, that was one of the problems the Giants have had. There's always been problems. I mean, when we're going to fix the offensive line, been saying that for a long time. When we're going to get ourselves our franchise quarterback. We might have had the franchise quarterback. We just didn't want to let him go. But, when we're going to start scoring some points, a lot of things. When we're going to get a number 1 wide receiver. Well, we got a number 1 wide receiver now. We got our quarterback in the future. We're starting to score some points. Maybe we can get him, Jaxson Dart, another weapon. Right? Where are we at here? Jaxson Dart and the Giants aim to keep offense rolling versus the Patriots on Monday Night Football. Giants have scored at least 20 points in 8 of their last 9 games. Can they keep that up on Monday? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. The Giants are only 7.5-point underdogs on the road. Starting quarterback Jaxson Dart is cleared the concussion protocol, which adds intrigue to the game. Likewise, the added intrigue of the fact that Mike Kafka is pretty familiar with the Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. The two met regularly in their respective stints with the Chiefs and the Titans. Over that period, Kafka helped game plan to beat Vrabel's defense 4 times from 2018 to 2021. The two met again in the first week of 2022 when the Giants stunned the Titans in week 1. But that was Dable's offense, but Kafka was calling the plays. What might it be like, right? If we got an off season, you keep, maybe you keep, maybe some of the offense, maybe. But if Kafka winds up being the head coach and he starts drawing up his own plays and calling his own plays, what that might look like. I mean, just think, he's calling these plays here and they're not his plays. Right? Well, what it might be like. Can Kafka do it again? Can his offense once again put the Giants in position for an upset? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a possibility. Yeah. The Patriots do have a lot of good things obviously going for them. But their run defense gave up a lot of yards last week. One of the guys on their defensive front is injured. The Giants might be able to take advantage and be able to run the ball. I certainly think without question, I mean, unless, a bunch of turnovers or just things start going crazy or whatever, I certainly think the Giants, without question, can wind up scoring at least another 20 points once again here with Jaxson Dart at the helm. But as I said, you got to really, really, for all the things that have gone bad this season, and granted, there have been a lot. You got to look at a couple good things here, right? Kafka's still here. He's calling the plays, putting up a lot of yards. And once again, he's got Winston in there, who's a backup quarterback. As I said, once again, go to any team out there and put a backup quarterback in there. Take their number one wide receiver, get rid of him. Take their number one running back, get rid of him. Okay, and on the offensive side of the ball, let's see a team put up over 500 yards of offense and 27 points like the Giants did. Not many teams are going to be able to do that, right? Now, granted, the Detroit defense is not a very good pass defense, but it may not be the greatest defense, in the NFL at this particular point in time. But just think about what Kafka has been doing. As I said, once again, he's either has a backup quarterback in there or he has a rookie quarterback in there. Our number one weapon, Malik Neighbors, is gone. We have nobody that really scares you. We got guys that are producing, but we don't have anybody that really scares you. As I said, our number one running back is injured. Just think about if Kafka winds up coming back and being the head coach, what he might be able to do if he has his own plays and he's calling his own plays. As I said, you can't overhaul the offense. You can't overhaul the Bowen's defense in week 13, going into the week 13. You can't do that. You can do little tweaks here and there, but you just can't overhaul the whole offense or whole defense. As I said, if Kafka does wind up coming back, just think, what he might wind up being able to do with his own offense, and he's calling his own plays. But I said, once again, as bad as the season's been, there's certainly been some very good bright spots. And I said, past couple of seasons, we averaged 15 points a game 2 seasons ago. Last year, we're averaging 16. It was like, when are we going to score some points? What the? Well, we're scoring points now. Our problem is we're just giving up too many points. But not being able to score points is not one of our problems. Once again, we're still having a hard time finishing drives in the red zone. I get it, but we've come a long way. And once again, we've come a long way with a backup quarterback, with a rookie quarterback, where our number one running back is injured, and we don't have a number one wide receiver, and we're putting up over 20 points a game. Pretty impressive. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 18 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.